What's going on, my beautiful people? Another great day here inside the Black Actor Studio. Joining me today is incredibly talented actor, writer, producer, director, and you can't talk about black film without mentioning this guy's name. You've seen him in Harlem Nights, Return of the Living Dead, Friday the 13th, and so many more. Stay tuned.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
Actor Studio. Our guest today has made himself a name here in Hollywood. Okay, he is one of the incredible talents from back in the day. He's still reinventing himself now. You know him from Joanna Man, Carl Weber's BT, The Family Business. The list goes on for this guy. I'm so happy to have him. Big fan of the Black Actor Studio. Is very proud to welcome Miguel A. Nunez Jr.
What's up, brother?
What's good?
I'm so happy to be here because when I found out that Maria Menounos is the owner of this place, and she and I work together, and I love her. She is I had most fun with her probably than any actress ever working with.
That's dope. Well, I wanna hear more about that a little later.
Yeah, I got some stories on Maria now.
But first, tell us a little bit about the family business, because you know that's going on right now. Carl Weber's. Did you read the book before?
No, I had not read the book before,
Okay.
but I had heard once, I had done a few projects with Carl before that, a couple of films and a couple of spec pilots and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he was going to try to sell. This is one of the most brilliant things about Carl Weber. Just like people know the story of Schwarzenegger. I'm sorry, not Schwarzenegger, but Rocky.
Yeah.
He was sleeping in his car, and the studio offered him a whole lot of money for the script.
Yeah.
As long as he didn't star in it or direct it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said no and decided to continue to live in his car than give up his dream the way he wanted to do it.
Right.
And Carl went into Lionsgate Big Studio, and he said, I want to do this show. And they said, because he has 6 books, not just the series in Family Business. And they said, okay, well, we want Family Business, because Family Business was hot.
Yeah.
He said, no, I don't want that kind of a deal. I don't want to break it up. I want somebody to help me do all of them. And they didn't do it, so he decided to do it on his own.
That's
and he
dope.
went out, he did it on his own. So he's brilliant. I hadn't really heard about the books, but once I started hearing all that, I'm like, hey, what is this? And then I started reading all the people talking about, oh yeah, I remember book number 4. Oh, you don't know what happens to you on number 5. I'm like, hey, what the hell happens to me on 5? So and it is that exciting.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Nice. So we'll get into a little bit more about that later on. But I like to start off in the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Manhattan, New York.
Nice. Okay. And how was that family dynamic for you?
Well, I was born in New York. Okay, this is hard shit because my family dynamic is a movie in itself. My mother was the writer of James Brown's biggest hit, It's a Man's World.
Wow.
My mother wrote that song.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
my mother was from a little town called Wilson, North Carolina, and we were raised by my grandmother and grandfather, who's my mother's mother and father. And they are strict Christians. And they were the strictest people in the world. My grandfather was a preacher, and we had to be in church every Sunday. We had to sing in the choir even after we graduated. And I don't care how old you were, you got your ass whooped if something went wrong in the house. My aunt was who's who among colleges.
Right.
She came home and something happened. My grandfather wanted to beat her. And that was the only time my grandmother wanted to get in the fight, because she said, you're not beating her. She's in college. He said, I don't care if her ass was in this house when it happened. And that's how we were raised.
Wow.
And my grandfather always told my mother and them, stay away from boys, stay away from my boys. So my mother ended up running away from home when she was like 16. She ran away from home from North Carolina to New York. And she was 16 years old. She was the most drop-dead, gorgeous Halle Berry, whoever you can think of the time.
Yeah.
And so she really didn't and she was a country girl, and she said, the only reason y'all here is because my grandmother and grandfather told me every day to stay away from boys. So as soon as I got the hell out of here, I wanted to find out what the hell it is that these boys, they didn't want me to find out.
Right.
My mom went to New York. She had 9 kids. All of us, my 9 brothers and sisters, one after another.
Wow.
And we all have different fathers, and she took us and gave us to our grandparents.
Okay.
And that was it.
And that was it.
Because my grandparents had a farm, and my grandparents had a big farm, and she wanted sons so they could help run the farm, and she had all daughters.
Right.
My mama wanted all daughters to help her run the street. She had all sons, so we ended up on a farm in North Carolina.
Wow.
From 3 years old. So I lived this straight up Andy Griffin, pigs, cows, the whole nine, fishing in the lake, swimming in the lake. I learned how to drive on a tractor, all of that.
Wow.
But every minute and every second of every day of my life, I said, I'm going to be a movie star.
Really?
From the time my mother said, I think I was 3 years old or something, and she spanked me, and she said, when I become a movie star, I ain't going to buy you nothing. I don't even remember knowing, I don't even think I'd ever watched television.
Wow.
My uncle, who was a car dealer, and he was a car dealer. He would drive cars. I don't know how he did them, sell Cadillacs. And he came home once with a car, and it had California license plates. I sat there on the street on my ass, rubbing the license plate all day until they made me come in to eat and go back, because I was saying, this car was in California where I'm gonna live.
Wow.
I knew it beyond a shadow of a doubt. I just knew it. I got first grade, second grade, third grade, I wore a jean jacket, the same jean jacket, because I was the same size from the first grade to the 12th.
Oh.
I weighed 75 pounds when I graduated from high school.
Wow.
And I had a big magic marker, and I would write Hollywood. I wrote Hollywood on the back of my jacket. My nickname was Hollywood Newt. Hollywood short for Nunez, because that's
Nunez,
all I
yeah.
told every single body, every single day of my life. I'm gonna run away from Hollywood. As soon as I get out of school, I'm gonna run away from Hollywood. I'm gonna be a movie star. I'm gonna be in movies. And I just knew it. I told everybody. But every single person that I ran into, every single person, not one person on the entire planet ever said to me, go for it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Every person told me the absolute opposite. And that's why I tell kids to this day, no one has to believe in you. Forget people, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
No one believed in me. Everybody, and here's the thing. The things they said was true. They was like, how the hell are you gonna become an actor? You're poor, you're black, you're skinny, you're ugly, you're living on a farm in North Carolina. It's not possible. There are actors in New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Houston, colleges, got agents, managers, lawyers. How in the hell your little skinny, ugly black ass? And I've heard these verbatim words thousands of times.
Wow.
It's not even possible. And I would go home, and everybody else would be running around, and I would go get the encyclopedia and look up Hollywood. And I would look up every address, write letters to them. I knew it beyond a shadow of doubt. Now, graduated from high school. June, July, August, September. I'm North Carolina. I ain't never been to a city other than when I was 3 years old. I except once when I was maybe 11, went to New York to see my mom for a weekend.
Right.
And we loaded up in the car and moved to Beverly, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Drove a truck. But I got a job after I graduated. Excuse me. I was working at a processing tobacco warehouse. I crop tobacco. I crop tobacco, stick tobacco, sucker tobacco, hung tobacco, truck tobacco, and stick tobacco. I've stood in the top because the skinny ones, you know, I took from the plant all the way to the cigarettes.
Wow.
I've done every single job.
Wow.
But anyway, I had a job there, and I got my first check, and it was like $100-something, and I was like, I'd already planned I was going to do for the week, this, Christmas, blah, saving my money, blah, all of this. And for God, I was like, I could go to California right now. Wow. If I don't do it right now, I'm never gonna do it. I got the money, I can do it. I had no clue. Except I knew when I get to California, I'm gonna be a star. I knew that. That's all I knew.
Right.
I went, and I just said, I quit. And they said, if you wait till tomorrow, you got a week and a whole check you can get. I said, keep it. Because I knew if I changed my mind, I would have been there stuck in Wilson.
Right.
I walked home, which was probably here to the Staples Center, but through the woods, it was like 10 minutes.
Right.
And I ended up getting home, and then it was like 15 of us in the house, because all of my brothers, plus my mom had my 5 aunts in one house, and it was never a time there was no one home ever, except that day. I make 3 bologna sandwiches, and I wrote a note. And I said, I'm going running away to Hollywood and make something out of it. So I left it on the dresser in my grandparents' room, walked down the train track, looked back over this little bitty corny-ass town, went to the bus station, walked up to the man and said, can I get a ticket to Hollywood? And that white man said no. And I thought, because he saw my heart bump out my chest, and he said no. So I thought you had to be an actor to get into Hollywood. But he said, you can go to Los Angeles. I said, okay. I bought my ticket. I had like $20-something left. And I just said, okay. I bought a ticket, walked in the back of the bus, because in Wilson, the bus station is right in the middle of this city. So my grandparents were going to have to come home from the factory. They're going to have to pass there. So I was sitting in the back just praying. And next thing I know, the bus started going. It took me 5 days to get here. And by the time I got here, I had $2. And that ain't shit compared to now. I never, ever realized the seriousness of what I had actually done. Never once did I realize the seriousness of what I'd done. I was doing the same thing in the back of that bus once I got out of Wilson. I'm going to be a movie star. Everybody in there. Same thing I was doing to everybody I met.
Wow.
It wasn't until the bus landed now. What I found out was Trailways. When I said, can I get a ticket to Hollywood? No, I didn't know this then. I still thought you had to be an actor to get in Hollywood. But what I found out later was I was at the Trailway station. Trailways goes to Skid Row, downtown L.A. But Greyhound went to Hollywood. I didn't know that. And I was on Trailway. And when I looked outside, everything dropped. I didn't know. I was 16, but I literally probably 12 in naivety, and it really. Absolutely. And I talked just like this when I came. I'm going to be a movie star. All just like that. And it was the first time I realized the seriousness of what I actually done, because I didn't know what to think. Where am I going to stay? I never gave any of that any thought. Stupidest shit in the history of stupid.
Crazy.
So I ended up having $2 left in the pocket. The Cecil Hotel is where that girl, ghost girl, got killed, which you know, I'm sure you know. If you don't, look it up. And it's real. And it was $6. I didn't have enough to get there, so I walk around town, down there, and I'm trying to think what to think. And because the guy, he kicked me out of the bus station. And I go, I see a movie theater, and it was October now, so it was kind of chilly. It's a movie theater, $1. I said, okay, I can stay in a movie theater. So in North Carolina, we all keep a little box raise. You know those ones they cover open box. We keep those in North Carolina. That's all you need. Right? So I kept mine with me. So I go in the movie theater, and I'm sitting in the movie theater, and I kept it in my pocket like this, and I put my legs up because these big-ass rats keep running across your feet. And all night long, I'm like this. And every time I wake up, there's a head, like somebody's in the theater, like in maybe the third seat from the front. Every time I wake up, it seemed like it was closer.
Really?
The last time I woke up, some big, nasty-looking, and I popped that razor out like this, and he jumped up and ran, and I walked outside. But that was only God's way of telling me to protect myself.
Protect yourself, right?
So I ended up, I'm just to make a long story short, because I can go on. And I walked around I just didn't know what to think. I didn't know. I'd never been out of Wilson. Everybody I saw called ma'am and sir. If you were bigger than me, it was ma'am and sir. So many people said, oh, hey, you don't have to call me ma'am. You don't have to call me sir. I mean, I walked around days and days and days, and then I ended up sleeping under a park bench downtown L.A., and I saw this guy. To this day, I wonder if this guy ever see anything I do and remember. And he was like, dude, it was raining. And he thought I was like a kid again. Well, why are you out here sleeping in the rain? I said, because I came in here for Hollywood to be an actor. He said, oh, God. And I was like, and everybody keeps saying it like that. I kept like, but I just thought they just didn't believe me. So then he was like, you should go to the mission. I'm like, what is a mission? So he tells me about the Union Rescue Mission. Oh, my broadcast failed because my battery died. They were like, So they ended up telling me to go to the mission. And so I'm like, what? And then they tell me Union Rescue Mission. I didn't know what a mission was. So the next day I end up finding it. Now, if you go to the Union Rescue Mission right now, it's a big, huge, multi-million-dollar facility. There's a picture of me in there. I'm one of the graduates. There are other people. But when I went, it was a little shitty-ass, little nasty hole in the wall. That just a little church. If you got in there before 7, you get to stay. And I would get there, and I remember you just being there, and I remember waking up and all the bums be on you, and it'd be stinking. And I remember scratching and itching and itching and itching and itching and itching. And then I went there and said, why am I itching so bad? And they said, well, you have lice on you. I said, what is that? And he said, something growing on you. And I remember that. And then you go downstairs, and they put you in this room, and the guy has a mask on. And he's whoosh, whoosh, pumping it. And then you walk in before you say, okay, where I go? Just spraying you off. And he's got a mask on.
Right.
But then they wash your clothes, and then while you wash your clothes, they send you into this bathroom. And to this day, my hair standing. When I think about going around that corner and this huge room and bums and puke and everything you can think of, just the smell. Because when I was in the bus station, I put my suitcase, one of those things where you put a quarter in and turn and get the key. But I never went back to get it. That quarter don't last for fucking weeks. So they end up, when you go, the key don't work. You have to get and I couldn't get my clothes, so I had to wear the same thing over and over. Red hat, red pants, and a red shirt.
Oh,
North
in L.A.?
Well, I was in North Carolina. All right, so now, so now, I'm at the Union Rescue Mission, and I'm there, and I just go through hell. And they kept calling me, Youngblood, why are you here? Youngblood, what are you doing? I'm telling me an actor, Youngblood, you got to get a real dream, Youngblood, you got to, And I'm like, no, it's going to happen, right? So then I ended up, they told me about getting on the county, which I didn't know anything about. It was like, I got on the county. I guess and they gave you a hotel. They got county hotels downtown. And I don't know what they call it now. It's probably welfare. I don't know what they call it. But it's called the county. I got on the county, and they give you a hotel downtown L.A. for a month.
Wow.
And your rent is, every week you just sign a voucher.
Wow.
Just sign. And then you get 3 meals a day.
Okay.
Your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and every time you pay your bill, you just sign the voucher. And that was for people coming in new in town. They probably don't do that now. So I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And I had this little bitty room, but you wouldn't want to own the hotel, and you would never eat in the restaurant. Ever. Ever. And there was no bathroom in them. You had to go down the hall and wait in line. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, so you just pee in your sink and then you go to the bathroom.
Right.
But anyway, and I remember, and I still knew. I just didn't know how or what. So I ended up getting this, and then they told me one day, and I met these guys in the hotel who were like, been on there. They were like in the chill. How long you been here? 4 months. You know, just getting on the council. I mean, you trying to get a job and get out of here? We make $176 every week. You get a check for $176 on the county? I said, that was like what I was making in Wilson.
Right.
And I was like, what? And they were like content. I was like, but you don't want to stay here. I was doing the same thing I was doing everywhere. You can get out of there, dude. You can
do more.
Shut up.
Right.
So anyway, just like everything that happens in my entire life, when it gets to me, they like, hey, we don't get no check. What's going on? They stopped giving checks to the people on county and welfare, whatever it was, and they said we're going to start the CETA program back then. It was called County Educational Training something. Everybody who's getting a check, now instead of you just getting a check, you're going to work on county buildings, cleaning up the trash or something.
Do some
so
work.
I got a job at Ranchos Los Amigos Hospital as a physical therapist technician assistant under the CETA program in Downey, which is like 3 or 4 hours from downtown, 9, 10 buses. And I would get on that, get up every morning, and I would do it. And I'd run it into 90 degrees, and then the bus dirt get in your face, and you take 4 and 5 hours to get there, and it's burning up. You got no water, no money. You know what I'm saying? You still got to go back downtown, and it's all the way out there. And I slaved, and I did it, and I saved that $2,500. By now, I know you can go to Hollywood because I've already seen it, been on the bus. And I tell those guys, come on, man, we can do better. We can get out of this. We can get out of this. So they were like, okay, everyone, come here, shut up, man. We ain't got to pay them $60 a month. Because once you get on the county and you started making your CETA job checks, you can't sign no more. But the hotel was only $60 a month.
Oh, okay.
And you still had to pay for your food, but that was nothing.
Right.
So they were content. So I said, they said, we ain't saving no money. So I saved all my money, moved to Hollywood, and moved all them in there. So my rent was still cheap.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Then now that they were paying, I said, okay, this is it. I didn't come out here to do this. I could have done this in North Carolina. So I said, okay, do the same thing. Just like when I walked away from the factory. I quit the job. I went to my supervisor, and God bless her, I love her, name's Liz. She just retired. And I told Liz what I was doing. She said, listen, just say you're going into the Army, because if it don't work out, you can say you got discharged, and I give you a job back. And I did it. And then I started getting the yellow pages. I started looking up all the studios. I used to go to KTLA, KTTV, and I would look in the morning, and I would notice that the security guard, when somebody would come in, every now and then he'd be checking somebody at the gate, and some guys would walk past with a little pail, and he would go like this. And he would check. So, all right, so I went and got me a little pail, bought me a little pail, and I would sit over there, and I would just wait to a car. As soon as he would go like this, I walk real fast, and sometimes he would go, hey, and just keep going. And I would get in. Sometimes he'd kick my ass out. But I would do that, and I would go around. I would go to Universal Studio Tour.
Oh, wow.
And I would, because like my thing is, no matter what somebody tell you, they say you can't do this. You know you can't do that. You can't go onto Universal Studio Tour and onto Universal Studio and go inside the studios and watch. I want to go in there and learn and watch how they do it. Are you crazy that I'm gonna let your skinny, ugly, dumb ass walk in there on the set and all that stuff? Okay, well, they won't let me, so then let me figure out a way. And that's what I did. So I went and took the Universal Studio Tour. And then there's a part where they go, okay, everybody, now we're going to go in these doors. Beyond these doors, we're going to see how they do TV shows. You're going to see actual TV production. Okay, this way. And while everybody was going this way, I went that way. And I drifted off, and I went and did all that. And then at the evening, I would come back and go in with another group. And
wow.
So, I mean, I would do whatever it take. So then one day I'm on a bus. Now I started learning a little stuff. Now I'm on a bus, and this guy's like this. And I said, hey, what are you doing, dude? He said, yeah, I'm going to a cattle call. I said, what is that? He said, it's for a TV commercial. I said, oh, I came out here to be an actor? I want to be an actor. I said, what is that? He said, oh, this is called a resume here. You're going to have to get a resume, and you need to get some photos. And you got to get an agent, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, okay. So he got off the bus, and I look over there, and I see this in the park. They were doing a big, and I see cameras and stuff. So I go to the next stop. I take the resume he gave. I went to the copy place, whited his name out.
Oh, wow.
I put my name on it, which I didn't know cattle call, you didn't even need a resume.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I put his name on, went back, got in line, and I got the lead in that commercial.
Wow.
I was still homeless. So he said, and then they was asking me about agent. I said, I don't have an agent. Hey, this guy, he said, you got it. And I was like, da-da-da-da-da. And he said, I don't have an agent. He said, I'll take it to my agent. So he took me to his agent. And I said, listen, you send me more of those things, those cattle things, you can have all of that money. I didn't know how much it was. And I said, you can have all that money. He said, of course, I like you. I'm going to sign you. Of course, so you can get the commission.
Of course.
And then the next 50 auditions he sent me, I probably got 48 of them.
Wow. I mean, that whole story, just the perseverance, that's like, man, that's insane. What was it, like, did you have any motivation? What was pushing you to keep going through all that? Because, that's a lot of stuff.
And that ain't even hardly,
that's a tip of the iceberg, right?
A tip of the iceberg.
What was pushing you? Like, just, the idea of becoming a movie star? Or what was your motivation to keep
No, it wasn't. Honestly, my 100% sincere motivation was the fact that I absolutely knew it was going to happen. I knew it. I saw it. I knew. I said, I'm going there. I'm going to have my own premiere at the Chinese Theater, which was Geronimo Man.
Yeah.
I knew it. I saw it back home in North Carolina. And the only thing that pushed me to go through, and who would eat out of the trash? I've eaten out of the trash before. I would sit at the bus stop and see something over there that, maybe somebody ain't really touched all the way. I've done that before, but it's because I knew. I didn't think. I could be, because that's when you think you're going to be something. When you think you got a shot, then you can be easily dissuaded to back off of it when hardship comes.
Right.
But I knew it. I swear to you, I don't know how to explain it.
That's crazy.
But
That's awesome.
I 1,000,000% knew it beyond a shadow of a doubt, and that kept me going because I just didn't know how. Everything with me to me, it wasn't like, how do I get it? It was like, okay, I know it's going to happen, so something is. Somewhere there's a way.
Right, there's a way, yeah.
I knew there was a way because if I knew it was going to happen, then I know there's a way. It's got to be because then I'm wrong about it's going to happen, and I wasn't wrong in my own mind. So you motivate yourself.
Right.
Too many people let other people dictate what they feel about themselves or what they think they can do.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. Girl, you ain't gonna be nothing. You're ugly self. How you gonna be something? You're skinny self. Them skinny old legs. And now the girl thinking she got skinny legs, and now she look because it's a lot to do with the social media.
It does, yeah. The social media is playing a big game on that.
Likes. I don't have as many likes and as many followers.
Yeah, people just showing the good stuff of what happened, not a whole story. Yeah, that's great. So, on this journey of yours, right? Who was some of the biggest inspirations for you in the game already? Like some of the guys you saw on TV, some of the shows that you watched.
When I came up, like I said, in North Carolina, I never watched television. Only thing I ever watched was the Flintstone and Gilligan's Island.
Oh, wow.
And Good Times.
Good Times, yeah.
But actually, my mother was the first black person I ever knew on television. There was a TV show, it was like the first American bandstand, and it was called Hullabaloo. The very first musical show, and we were babies. And she was one of those, because she had long blonde hair, black hair, and she looked really mixed. And she was one of the go-go girls up in the little dance booth. All the white girls and the go-go girls, and the one black one was my mom. But that was all she did on TV. But I never really, I saw that one time, I never really watched television. I remember this more than anything growing up. I remember walking out the house and going, at least, this is what I remember, one of my most memories. I remember walking there and looking at my aunts who were in colleges and stuff, and they would look like this going. And then looking at them going. They're looking at the TV going, what the fuck? What in the hell could they be looking? You guys sitting here watching this box all day? What is on this box?
Right.
I remember saying that so many, get out of here, boy. I never understood it.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
I never equated it to act. That's why I don't understand, even myself, where the acting thing came from. I don't understand where the movie star, I didn't know, I didn't have a favorite anything.
Oh, wow.
But once I got here, the person who inspired me the most was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
It's because Eddie Murphy broke down so many walls. And I came up where we had so many walls because there hadn't been a black person the lead in the movie that had a big box office.
Yeah.
They hadn't been that yet. We were going out for Reggie's, then we were going out for the drug dealers,
Right.
the drug dealers, the pimps, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Eddie came in there, started being the lead in this, telling white folks kiss his ass. He started doing this. And then they said, hey, wait, they can make money. Let's find another one. Let's find another one.
Right.
There's more. Hey, what are you doing? And he opened up so many doors.
Wow.
And he is such a strong, amazing, committed family man. That's one of the people that had inspired me the most.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you worked Harlem Nights, Life.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, so like my family, we would get together and watch Harlem Nights. I'll be quoting every single part of it.
I love that movie.
You broke my nose, man.
And the guy who shot the little gun.
Yeah.
You know how he wasn't in the movie.
Oh, really?
That was the prop master who bring the gun. So Eddie was the director. Eddie said, hey, get them their guns. So he passed the big gun, and he was like, okay, who? Eddie said, hey, what are you going to do with that little shit? Who the fuck are you going to get? Hey, wait. Hold on, wardrobe. Give him a jacket, put him in there, and you keep that little shit. Right after that, all of that Eddie came up with right on his back.
That is crazy.
And
That's
it was
insane.
remember a little bit, Pete, Arsenio just rolled with it. What the hell you shooting that little shit for?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Because in the beginning, Arsenio wasn't in it. I was the Arsenio role.
Oh, okay.
Arsenio was doing the show, and then Eddie came to me and said, hey, man, listen. Paramount, they really want Arsenio to be in it, so you and Arsenio be brother. Let him do that. I said, I give a shit.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Gives me more visibility. Arsenio was Arsenio.
I mean, how was it working on set with some of the greats, Red Fox, Richard Pryor? I mean,
it was awesome.
That's
awesome.
insane.
One of the Red Fox used to always. If you notice it when you watch Harlem Nights, if you notice when he had all the scenes, he would go, yeah. And she would say something, then he'd go, stupid bitch. Bitch. He always, that stuff, it was just, he always had to have the last word.
Yeah.
Wow. He had to have the last word. And he always coming in, why he can't be in this scene? And he always coming in there wondering why he can't be in this scene, he wanted to be in everything. But it was Eddie, because of Eddie, the atmosphere starts from the top down.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Eddie keeps, he creates an atmosphere that's conducive to creativity, fun, laughter, upbeat, no drama. That's how he is.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. So then you go to other things like, you got Return of the Living Dead and Friday the 13th, but when Juwanna Mann hit, okay, now this is another one. Me and my brother are huge fans of Juwanna Mann. Are we looking at a number 2 coming out?
Yeah, we're looking at number 2.
All right,
yes,
dope.
Yes.
Okay, that's dope. But how was that? Working with Vivica and that whole how was the audition process and all that stuff?
Yeah, yes, we are going to do a Juwanna Mann 2, and we're going to get one Black Hollywood Live person who we're going to have a raffle. And just make sure you put, I entered from Black Hollywood Live.
There you
we
go.
were always going to give one, but now we're going to give 2 because we're going to give one Black Hollywood Live listener an opportunity for a walk-on role. And it'll be you may have a line, you may have more than one line. So make sure you go to my Instagram at MNUNEZJR, M Nunez Jr., and that's where we're going to pick the winners.
There you go. You heard it.
So let me tell you about Juwanna Mann. It's weird because Will Smith is a good friend of mine, and Will always told me a long time ago, Miguel, you got to start playing golf, man. That's where the big deals happen. Golf, the executives on the golf course, when you get the audition, you audition in the road, blah, 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 but the golf, the real, that's on the golf course. I ain't paying no attention to him. I didn't pay no attention to him. And then, not that I didn't pay attention to him, I just didn't do it. And then one day out of the clear blue sky, I said, you know what? I'm going to take up golf. So I go to the Witsit in here in Studio City, and I get this black guy who's really famous and does everybody. He's amazing. His kids were like 9, 11 years old, hitting like Tiger Woods. And I get him to start training me, and he's showing me how to hit, and all of this stuff. And then while I'm hitting, first day ever on the golf course, I'm hitting. So yeah, hi, excuse me, are you Miguel Nunez? Dude, I love you, Sparks. You're amazing on that TV show. Listen, I'm directing, my name is Jesse Vaughn. I'm directing this movie called Juwanna Mann, and we're having a screen test at Warner Brothers all day tomorrow. I don't know why you're not there, but I want you to come in for the screen test.
Nice.
And that's how I got it.
Nice.
Because the original casting director, for some reason, they told them I wasn't right for it.
Okay.
Don't understand what happened.
Well, I mean, definitely right for it.
So then I go there, and I remember Flex being there, and I remember walking in and going, I was like, hi. I thought this really beautiful girl sitting there, and he was like, nigga, get out of here. I'm like, whoa! And it was Flex. I was like, what the hell? He had his eyebrows like done right. They had fixed him up already because half of them were going to do Juana first and on camera, and then the others were going to do Jamal. I was going to do Jamal first, and then they were going to flip us. So they were already a lot of them been there, been done. And I was like, and I had just got off in a plane. So I didn't really know what it was about and all that stuff. So I was like, okay. By the time I got to Warner Brothers, I'm there, I had to go out and shoot. I came back, they said, he's terrible. And I was busting from everywhere. I'm like, what do you mean I'm terrible? They said, look, the guy came over, he said, see that? I was like, yeah, I was busting.
Oh boy, yeah.
I was like, he said, just all the little things. I was like, oh, I said, nobody anybody know. And I was like, little stuff. And I taught him that. So I had to go to USC, but anyway.
Okay.
USC and train for months. But so anyway, so then after a while, we went in there and did the screen test on camera, and they said, just go for it. And I was like, oh, don't tell me that.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. I was just rattling off, ad-libbing, bringing them to their full feet. What are you talking about? I was just killing them. And the next thing you know, then they said, okay, we want you and you and you. We're going to have to set up a meeting. And they wanted us to go in and talk to the executives at Morgan Creek first, which was the company that owned it, and Warner Brothers. And then 2 meetings, 15 minutes each. And Flex was one of them, and I actually took my 15 minutes to tell them how Flex was the most perfect person on the planet for this job.
Really? With
every bit of sincerity, had no clue what I was doing until they brought it to my attention. I was 100%. It was like, I can get it over with. You know, I don't know what they want from me. I feel nervous. But, you know, I just was talking, and I was like, listen to me. And this is what I'm going to say right now is true. I'm acting like you exactly. Listen to me. I know y'all know I'm good. I don't know what you guys thinking, but have y'all seen Flex really play? If Flex played Jordan 5 out of 10 games, Flex gonna at least win 4 or 5.
Wow.
If he was playing Kobe, he's gonna win at least 4 or 5.
Right.
He could bust 35 any game. I don't give a damn who in there. Slam dunk from half court, 360. I don't care. Flex was real like that.
Right.
That's what I kept going and going. Then the next meeting, the Morgan Creek people. The Morgan Creek people were also at the Warner Brothers meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right, so then they narrowed it down to just us. And then the guy said, "Can I ask you a question?" When is that? Stop. He said, "Why would you spend your time trying to tell us how great the other actor is?" And I went, I didn't have an answer because I hadn't even thought about it. I was like, shit, what am I doing?
Wow.
I hadn't even thought of it.
I'm like,
and I just said, honestly, to be honest with you, I'm not saying, you know, he's bad. I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
He is amazing, and I could never play like him. I'm just telling you right now. So I don't want you to hire me and think I'm gonna go out there and do.
What you doing?
And the next thing I know, the owner gave it to me.
Wow.
He said half the room was took your advice. You had it all. And then he said, you changed half the rule, but then he overruled him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And Juana Man was born.
I love Flex, and Flex is awesome.
Yeah.
I gave him his first TV series. I produced and created it. But I loved him ever since, and that was in 80-something. But I don't think anybody could have done it.
Right.
But I did.
I mean, no, of course not. I mean, you have this kind of this unapologetic.
And nobody could have done
talent.
what Tommy Davidson did.
Oh my God, yeah.
Tommy was my favorite character in that sucker. Tommy was.
Juana Man, I love you, Juana Man.
I don't know what's wrong, but. And here's the thing: when I did that movie, I remember I had it months before, because I had to train at USC with the head of the women's basketball team, the coach, and I remember going in the mirror all day going, what are you going to do? Hey, Lon. I didn't want to sound like a transvestite.
Yeah.
I was in the mirror every single day, all day, and I just couldn't get it. And I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. Then I started watching the RuPaul Drag Race to see if I could find out somebody with a voice, and I just gave up. So I flew to Charlotte where we shot it at, and we're in the trailer because we had to get there 3 hours of makeup job. So I'm there early, they got a little light on, and I'm in there, and I just said, you know what? Whatever comes out when I first start, whatever I decide to do, I'm going to stay with that. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So she started fixing my man. No, and then the next thing you know, this AD, because we're in Charlotte, she comes in and says, how would you like some sweet tea? I said, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why I make a country. Any way you can do it. Any way you sound that way. I was so happy. I know it was God too.
Hey, that's awesome.
That was God. So she
Right.
said, you want some sweet tea? I went. All of those months.
Right.
All of those months, and I was stressing hard.
Wow.
Because I thought that would be the hardest part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's some of the? Give me like a couple of things that you normally do to prepare yourself on and off set for a character.
Well, on the set, the same things you do off the set prepares you for what's on the set, and that is your total preparation. I like to read, because most actors, you read the entire script in the beginning because you have to.
Right.
But what happens is, if I get my scenes tomorrow, this is the script. If I get my scenes tomorrow, here's the beginning, here's the end, and my scenes are here, right? Oh, no, sorry, I'm gonna stop. My scenes are here. The first scene starts here. I read the script all the way up to there and stop. Okay? The next day, if my scenes are here, I read it all the way up again to here. And if my scenes are here, I read it from the beginning to here, because you know why? It is important. It is just more important for you to know what you don't know,
right,
as it is what you know. Because here's why. You read the script, and in this script, this guy's talking shit to you the whole movie. You read the script, so you know in the end you end up flipping and tripping and busting his ass.
Right.
So now, and he got a scene early on where he's talking to you, and you already know what you're gonna do to him later. So you're gonna play that a little bit different now. Your delivery's gonna be a little bit different now, because you already know later on I'm gonna whoop this nigga ass. But you don't supposed to know that.
Yeah.
So it is as important for you to know what you don't know as it is to you to know what you know.
Right.
So I always go from the beginning to that. And I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know this, and you just really have to prepare, because a lot of times I add libs and a lot of stuff you see that and when you bring it, but you can only do that when you fully prepared and you know the scene and you know the script.
Right.
Then you can flip it and
Then
dip it and grave
whatever.
and all that. Because other than that, you're in there saying your lines, but you're trying to remember them in your head. You're remembering your lines. Which one, I already told him which way he should go, and I'm just trying to remember the lines in my head, so you don't really give out the true intention and meaning of that scene.
Right. No, I feel you for sure.
Because when you really there, like I'll give you another example, like when you really there and a person is, when you talking to somebody, and this is what actors do, they'll be talking, and then they'll go, well then why you do it? Okay, they'll listen to you, and now when it's my time, why they get mad.
Right.
When you hearing somebody, and they talking to some shit that you don't like, you get mad before you fucking talk.
Before you talk, yeah.
You're already mad, so you already there, and you don't have to act.
Right.
If you do, say, and think exactly what you would do, say, and think in any situation, whatever's in that script, you never have to act. You never have to act. If you're just doing, saying, and thinking what you think, I mean, the only way you can do that is listen. A lot of actors, they don't listen. They be waiting for their next line.
Exactly.
No, you just listen to the other actor. Once you listen to the actors, if I don't agree with it, it's going to show before I open my mouth.
Right.
So my line's going to be automatically right.
Right.
Wait, whoa. Hey, where do you get that from? And it's not like this. Well, where do you get that from? You see?
Yeah, no, I see. Yeah, listening, right?
Yeah. Listening and responding
Right.
instead of listening and reacting. But you know.
Right. So tell us a little bit, just a little bit about your character on the Family Business.
Oh, I owe it all to Carl Weber. I thank Carl Weber, Indy Brown, and Trey Haley, because everybody thinks about me in a comedy aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
And
right.
any other producers in this business, I would dare to say, and it's because God put me and Carl Weber, Indy Brown, and Trey together, and any other producers, I would have never had this role, because there's so many other actors that do this kind of thing, and they didn't know I did drama first. I was on a hit drama series in 1987. I was just right off Homeless. First show was on CBS, Tour of Duty.
Yeah.
And I was nominated for drama, and I'm much better in drama than comedy, but I don't think anybody would have given me this opportunity. And Carl said it. He said, "Man, I'm gonna do something for you. This is something that's going to take you to the other side." Everything he said is true. And I think it's so easy for this set is absolutely amazing. Every actor, everybody is so, and the production company with Trey and Indy Brown, it's a Christian company. Pray every day. Everybody's like,
nice.
And you know, this is such a cliche. You like your family, but this is really, really true. I mean, I've done 100 Scooby-Doo over in Australia for 4 months, a Street Fighter in Australia for 8 months, and all of this, a life for like, I don't know how many damn years. but still, it really is, and everybody is so good. And that's why I like it. But the problem is, it's so easy to be good because Carl puts it on the page. A lot of times when I read a script, and they say, I want you to do this. A lot of times scripts I read, I see it, and you see so many good ad-libs and all that stuff. It's because, I see that I might have to dip this in the gravy, I might have to dip that, I might have to flip that edit. When you read Carl stuff, you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, just like that, just like that. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, just like that, just like that. And it's rare that you get that. It's really what he's doing is genius. He's written every episode.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It usually takes a whole entire
Team.
writer's room.
Right.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, that's dope. Did you play the games at all, Street Fighter or anything before you?
Oh
were
yeah.
You were familiar.
But
with
I didn't
the
play
games
with I didn't play with DJ. I forgot who I played with. I think I played with Radon. But we actually did a PlayStation 1.
I had that.
Yeah. I got it somewhere in the house.
Street Fighter, the movie game, yeah.
And it's so funny because that was the most incredible. To this day, when even I did it, and I understand 100%, and even though I know because I was there, I look at it and it's so incredible to me. Somebody can convince me that it ain't real when I know it is.
Yeah.
But they had us working out with weights. I was blown up like you have never. Every one of my abs was cut up. I don't even have that kind of body. But if you see it, you're gonna think everybody sees it says that's not possible. That is, but no. They had a nutrition. They had us do thousands of push-ups. They had that bag, everything.
Nice.
Then they put oil all on us and put these little marks on us and put up in a green room. And we had to do all of that stuff. And when I couldn't get my legs up, they tied a rope to your legs.
Oh, for real?
And then okay, stop. No, you gotta do it more. Yeah, they made
wow.
it. Yeah,
They made you do that.
Okay, now you get
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, because
Then-
you had to do all your special moves. Remember?
Yeah,
Turn,
the
kick.
special, yeah.
But that was awesome. I loved
That's
Australia.
a great experiment. Yeah,
It
that's
was.
good.
Australia's fun.
Great experience. So yeah, you have Dominican roots as well. So at that point, I mean, people didn't know. I mean, now you have Latino, Latinx, but when you were out starting up, like people were just like, okay, I don't know what that is. You can be mixed. What?
Everybody would ask me. To be honest with you, I didn't even know. To be honest with you, all I knew about my father, never met him. None of us really have.
Right.
A couple of my brothers, but all I knew is about my father was Dominican Republic. I got a birth certificate. He's from Santo Domingo, I think, and that's all I know. Never met him. You know, my mom had us, and
Right.
so I never met him. So I didn't even know. So if somebody asked me, I'm black. I never knew anything about it until later on when I got older and started exploring and looking at this and looking at that and looking at that.
Right,
so
right.
To me, it was never even thought of my mind, any of that.
Right.
Crossed my mind.
Wow, that's crazy. So we're gonna wrap up shortly, but I just want to get one.
No, I want to keep talking.
But I just want to get your opinion real quick
Sure, let's go.
about where Hollywood, especially Black Hollywood, is going. I mean, you've been in the game for a while, and you've seen where we started to climb, and now we in the Wakanda age, and then we got Black excellence coming out, with a lot of stuff. So, what do you think is next for our people in Hollywood?
Well, listen to me. I think what's next for us is the same thing as with everybody else. I mean, Crazy Rich Asians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bottom line with Hollywood is about dollars and cents.
Yeah.
That's if it makes dollars to Hollywood, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Once Wakanda shows that a black film can make more money than any other film, there will be more of them.
That's true.
And the bottom line is there is no more excuses. There's no more, the black film did. Now, there are still... Shit, I can't even say there are even still any barriers. There are none anymore. Mm-hmm. Where Black Hollywood, and it's like black is the new green in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they don't have a problem with it. And all of those people who used that situation, because in that time it hadn't been a huge, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They relied on Eddie Murphy movies and
right.
But now those walls that say, hey, shit, Wakanda, get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
Shit, get the hell out of here. Broke down the last little piece. Now there was always, you guys have made it, but there was always that one little bitty piece.
Right, you had to step it up.
One little bitty piece. There was always one little piece. Y'all can't mess with Jaws. Y'all ain't gonna mess with E.T.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't gonna mess with Titanic. There was always one little piece. Shit, Wakanda came and said, what the fuck are you talking about? And kicked it all out. So there is no more black this, black that. All you need to do is come up with a good idea, and don't go into somebody and don't think it's a good idea because your cousin said it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly, right.
But I think Black Hollywood is in a really good position. We just have to take this position, be really responsible with it, and do the right things with it, and do the kind of films that unite, the kind of films that inform, uplift, and that kind of thing. If we do the right things with it, we'll never have any form of backlash, and we'll never have anybody going.
Right.
You want to bring people along with you. That's my key.
Okay, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Miguel. It was a
My
pleasure having
man.
you on,
You too,
man.
brother. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
Let's do
for
it again.
sure. And let me just tell everybody where you can find you on social media.
Yeah,
and
you can
everything.
find me at M Nunez, MNUNEZJR. Instagram at M Nunez Jr. Twitter and Facebook at Miguel A. Nunez Jr. Also, you can catch me on FlyNubianKingTV.com.
Nice. And yes, and also check them out on the Family Business.
BET.
Family Business on BET for sure.
Right, man.
And I'm your boy Danny Royce. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week, same place, same time inside the Black Actor Studio. Peace.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content, and be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.